Good morning. It is Saturday, June 15th, 2024. I was about to say 2025, but I'm not there yet. My daughters say that I don't do this right, so I'll try to figure this out. But I'm outside today because it's too cold inside, and I don't feel like making a video inside my house. As I've said before, I kind of like making videos when I'm outside or somewhere where there's no people around me. And I don't know if my neighbors are listening, and I really don't care at the moment. But anyway, so affirmations is just remember that you are awesome, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're great, and that you can if you try. This week has been an interesting week. Last week was an interesting week. So just give you some heads up on things that are going on with me right now is June 7th, I resigned from the public school system that I was working with, and it broke my heart because I love teaching, and I'm very sad that I ended up having to resign, but I had to resign because I just feel my brain is just not where it needs to be, and it's just really been a struggle this year. My class has been great, but this year has just been really, really hard for me, and I can feel it in my head. I keep having seizures in my brain, and they don't know why they're there. I keep having spasms. They don't know what's going on with that. My vertigo and my trigeminal neuralgia keeps kicking in. They say it's stress related, and I'm trying so hard to keep pushing, but it's very, very hard. So I had to resign. I taught part-time for 3 years. I taught ADHD and autistic children part-time for 3 years. And I've been teaching for 14 years full-time. And knowing that I'm not going back to teaching has been a struggle. So I'm sorry, my heart's opening up today. I've been crying for the last couple of days. I feel so lost. But I'm trying to rely on God. I know that God has me in His spot, and He's going to provide for us. I just want to do it myself, but I can't. It's very, very hard. I hate talking to people because I feel like I have to be superficial when I talk to people. I just want to cry. I just want to hold somebody. I feel lost. I feel lonely. The last few days have been even worse. I sit at home. I've been playing with my baseball cards that I haven't looked at in the last 30 years. And I've been trying to figure out, okay, well, how much do these things cost? And maybe I can sell them. And it's been unnerving to sit there and time again try to figure out how much my baseball cards cost. Because then I have to sit and be still. Sitting and being still is not something that I like to do. I like to get up, I like to walk, I like to move, I like to drive somewhere, I like to pack. I'd like to walk. I would love to be able to just get back in the car again and drive. I'd love to be able to walk down the street without help. Go back to work. And no matter how much my husband tries to help me, no matter how much my daughter tries to talk to me, my other daughter, I still feel very lonely, very, very lonely. Nobody can understand where I'm at. unless they've been here too. Nobody understands what all of this means unless you understand me, but you can't. It's been a trying time. Oh, I wish I could go back to work. I wish I could teach. That's just the one thing I've wanted to do, but I can't do that anymore either. I blame it on my brain, but that would be blaming it on God, and I can't blame it on God. So here I am, crying out to God, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm looking to get Social Security with disability, but the last time I had it, it was half of what I got paid. I'm the only person that works in this family. So it's hard getting half of what I made and then trying to live normal life. It's going to be difficult. Getting my medical bills paid, my loans. I have so many thoughts in my head. My husband, I love him so much, and he's trying so hard to understand where I'm at, but he can't. He can't understand it. He's been depressed lately and frustrated and aggravated because he wants me to work. He wants me to bring in income so we can pay our bills. He has diabetes and his feet swell up, and he has a whole lot of issues that I can only fathom. I'm sure without the dog, he'd be right where I am. He'd be lonely and frustrated and aggravated too. I've always been the strong one in my family. And I hate that I can't be the strong one. I can't be there anymore. I have to give in. And I don't want to give in. I don't want to be still. I don't want to stop. I want to keep on going. But my doctors keep saying that if I keep on going, I'm not going to be there anymore. The more I push, the more I do, the more things that happen. I'm just causing my brain to die quickly rather than slowly. And I didn't think that was a really big thing until this year. Until the last couple months when I started having these stupid spasms in my head. Until the seizure started, I just assumed my body was still moving. I know I can't walk like I used to. I know I use a tin can to get around. Even coming out here was hard for me to get from the door. And the door's not but so far. It's right there. So you see the door. I can't be in my yard like I want to be, because I can't walk around in the yard because there's so many holes in the backyard that I'm just going to fall, and I can't do that. I can't walk around like I wanted to. But I thought that was the only thing that was really bothering me. The only issue that I was having. But the trigeminal neuralgia and the vertigo, they're both related to my brain. We found out that my eyes are still not fully connected to my brain. So what I see is I see images some days I don't see anything. I'm still not able to read very well. I have to use audio for the most part. Or if something has Braille, I'll use Braille, but most things around me doesn't contain Braille, so I have to listen to it. And I thank God that my ears worked so that I could hear where the big machines are, or hear when people are telling me which direction to go. I still have my right, my left, but it's a quiet place to be. It's a lonely place to be. So upon this last night, I do my devotions at night because everybody goes to bed at night. So when they go to bed early. Everybody in my house goes to bed early. I don't know why. But I don't. I still like to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night. So I sit down and I sit in my chair. And since I can't walk up the stairs and then walk back down the stairs, I have to stay downstairs. And the first verse that I turned to, or the first thing I heard last night, was Psalms 46:10. It says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heavens." And I thought, God, you're not listening. I don't want to be still. I have ADHD. So this whole brain thing drives me batty as it is. Let's add on the fact that I have ADHD. I have to get up. I have to move. I have to keep going. I can't sit. I can't stop. I'm constantly fidgeting with things. I'm constantly stimming. I'm constantly moving because I can't sit. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to sit and wait. But I keep hearing God say, but be still. I don't want to be still. Don't you get it? I'm tired of being still, and I've only been still for a week. I mean, June 7th wasn't too far along. It was last week. But I keep being told to be still, and I don't want to be still. I don't want to be there. But that's the first verse, and I turned from it because I was like, you know what, God, I don't want to hear you tell me about being still. So then this is the next thing I heard. Lamentations 22 says, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." And I thought, seriously, God, can you come up with something else? I mean, seriously, I don't want to know this stuff. This is not something I want to know. So I turned it again. I went to a different passage. And I was listening to audio last night because last night was one of those nights that I just, seeing words just wasn't going to happen. I mean, today I can see them because they're bright green. But reading was just not my thing last night. So I turned to another thing to listen to. And it was out of Lamentations too. And it was Lamentations 25. "The Lord is good to those who hope is in him. To the one who seeks him, it is good to wait greatly for the salvation of the Lord." And then verse 31 says, "For no one is cast off by the Lord forever." And I said, God, that's great and wonderful. I don't want to listen to this either. I get that I have to wait. I get all about this. And so I moved on to something else. And it was talking again about Lamentations and how Solomon was at a point in his life when he wrote Lamentations 3 that he just felt like God had abandoned him. He had all these problems. He was in the darkness. People were laughing about him or laughing to him. He was just going through a really rough time in his life where he just felt like he was in a pit and he couldn't get out, and everything was coming against him. And he felt like he couldn't walk without being laughed at. He couldn't go anywhere. He felt lonely. Despite all the people that was around him, he felt lonely. And he felt frustrated, and he felt disoriented and dauntless, and everything that goes with the negative words. He felt all of that. And he felt like God wasn't listening to him. God wasn't there for him. So he wrote this. He wrote Lamentations for that reason. And when he was all done with all of it, he wrote Lamentations 22 that says, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." And that's why we get that song, "Great is thy faithfulness." And don't ask me to sing it, because there's no way in heaven that I'm going to sing it, because I have um, a horrible voice. I could play all sorts of music and instruments. That's what I love to do. I can play every single one of them, or I used to, before my asthma got worse. I had so much fun learning how to play the flute and the clarinet and the bass clarinet and the sax. I loved learning how to play the trumpet and the trombone. I loved being able to look at somebody and say, hey, I can play that. The French horn. Everybody was like, no, the French horn is like the hardest instrument to learn how to play. I loved playing the French horn. It reminded me so much of the flute in a brass way. I loved playing the piccolo, and I loved people asking me to pick up an instrument and I could just put it in my mouth and play it. It was wonderful. But everything comes to an end. And I can't play instruments either. I can listen to them. I love listening to them. I love listening to the oboe. I love listening to music and trying to pick out what instruments is playing it. And I wish so hard that I could play it, but I can't. I don't have the air. I don't have the ability. So as I was thinking about Solomon, and sorry I keep moving it because my daughters keep telling me I need to put it up here. But as I was thinking about how Solomon was feeling alone and he had all those people around him. And eventually we know that Solomon had like 1,000 concubines and wives before he died. And he still felt so alone. And it's amazing how alone you feel, how lonely it is, even when people are all around you. And they can't understand your loneliness. They can't understand my loneliness. The people that live around me can look at me and see me on a day-to-day basis, or they can see me on a month-to-month basis, or however they see me. They have no idea what it feels like to not be able to walk like I want to, or not be able to drive anymore, not be able to work. They have no idea what it feels like to sit and try to pack a box. Take the entire day of energy out of me. They have no idea what it feels like to walk around my house slowly. It takes so much energy out of me. They have no idea. They have no idea what it feels like to try to do laundry. And it takes me 2 hours to do laundry, whereas before it took me so much shorter time. But it takes me 2 hours to fold laundry. Because I just don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the strength. I want to pack up my house, but I can't even fold my laundry. It's so frustrating. I'm so lonely, and I can't understand what's going on, and I can't explain it to my children, and I can't explain it to my husband. I get it. I get it when you feel lonely. I get it when you feel like there's nothing else. All day yesterday, I thought about my daughter in heaven, my children. All day I thought about my dad, how I wanted to see them, and I wanted to see him. And I thought about all I needed to do was just stop. But I can't. I have to keep going. Sorry, I was going to bring a box of tissues out here, but I thought, no, I don't need it. Good morning, bird. So as I was thinking about my daughters, it happened. My oldest daughter, he would have turned 29 this year. Thought about my twin daughters and the other children, my husband, my father, and now I know that they're all together. I heard this voice. It kept telling me to be still and to love him, and I didn't want to. And I'm still pushing God. I'm still saying, God, you just don't get it. And as I was still listening to my phone in the devotions, I was kind of putting them off a little bit as I was thinking. This is what verse came up out of Matthew 11:28-29. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Sorry, I have to switch it, even though I've memorized it. Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest upon your soul. So I cry out to God, please. Please teach me. Teach me how to do this, because I don't want to sit around and do nothing. I need to make money for my family. I need to pay bills. I need to prove to my children that I can do this. That I can't give up. That's not the way we go. I believe in God. I believe that He can provide for our every need. Pay for our medical bills. Pay for the loans that we took out that I can't do because I can't work anymore. I know that God's got me. I just have to trust on Him. As I'm listening to my verses, I'm continuing. I hear something about Noah. I didn't print his down, but how Noah had audacious faith. He believed in God. Everybody around him told him he was stupid, he was crazy, and he was insane. But he believed that God was going to use him in a mighty way. So he asked God, he prayed to God. And God told him, build this ark. You need this ark. So he built an ark. And Noah told people it's going to rain, and everybody laughed at him, scoffed at him. And as he's building and his sons are building, I'm sure they got so much against him. I'm sure people tried to say, hey, you can't do this. You're so stupid. Like, why are you following somebody you can't see? And they kept saying, because it's God. God told us. God told us. God. How many times was he lonely? I'm sure he was very lonely. Many times in his life. The man was 600 years old before it started raining. 600. I can't imagine. I'm 49. My body is already beginning to break down. And granted, I have disabilities and I have handicaps, but he was 600 years old. 627 if I'm not mistaken. With how much the day that it started raining. I can't imagine being 600. I can't imagine being 500. I can't even imagine being 100. But building an ark, being 600 years old, being told that that's faith. And this is called audacious faith, or audacious faith, I believe is how they say it. I want that faith. Oh, I want that faith. I want to believe that I can build an ark. Because I know that God's got a greater purpose. And eventually, God showed it. Why He has this great purpose was He wanted to save him and his sons and their wives, and eventually their children, and all these animals, clean and unclean, were aboard this ark. And everything else that was on earth was killed. I just find it, what a faith to have. So if I'm looking for a faith, I'm going to lean towards Noah's faith. It's an audacious faith. I want that faith. I want to believe quitting my job, that knowing that my brain isn't working as well as it used to be. I want to believe that God's going to provide for the bills that I have. God's going to provide for us. We need a house that I can move around. I believe that God's going to provide that house. But it's not easy. Oh my gosh, no. Not at all. So as I was listening to my verses, I heard another verse, Psalms 34, 4 and 5. I sought the Lord, and He answered me. He delivered from my fears. I seek the Lord every day. Today is not much different. 1 Peter 5, 6 and 7. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that He may lift you up in due time. 7 is cast all your anxiety on Him, because He cares for you. And then it kept on going. And it was talking about, don't be anxious for anything, because God has got it. You know, it hurts so bad, because I can't help. I'm out of energy. Just walking from the door to here brought a whole lot of energy that I don't have. I'm going to go see my best friend today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see her. I'm so tired at the same time. She's an amazing person. I'm sure she has audacious faith. Or she wants it. Or she's striving for it. I'm sure she's got times where she feels lonely. I see people around me that appear to have everything all together. I'm sure they have times where they just want to stop. They're tired. They're lonely. I'm tired, I'm lonely. I just wish God would tell me what's going on, like right now. I don't want to wait. I want to know now. I've got baseball cards and antiques and all sorts of stuff I can sell inside my house, but I can't seem to do any of it because I need energy and I have none. So annoying. So I went for a walk this morning with my husband and the dog. And we went to a different park. And we were walking around. And I was noticing all these big, huge trees. There's poplar trees and sycamore trees. And there's strong trees around us. Then I saw this one little tiny tree just out in the field. And I walked over to it. And I noticed it was a fern tree, which I find odd because we don't have any fern trees around here. But it was a little fern tree. And the branches are long and lanky. The tree itself is just sitting in the middle of all these huge, humongous trees. And I had to thinking, or I don't know if I got to thinking or a voice was in my head, one of the two. But somewhere around, there's a voice. And I heard the voice very clear. This tree is one day going to be big and strong. But right now, it's a little tiny tree. And it needs help. It needs help standing up. It had little sticks in it. Or I don't know what they're support things. And looks like bungee straps on the tree. Because the limbs or the branches were so long and lanky. It looked like it would fall over if a big wind hit it. but it's got these supports to hold it up. And I know that one day that tree is going to be huge. But it has to be still and it has to wait. Thank God I am not a tree. I praise God every day that I'm not a tree. And just looking at that tree, I'm so happy I'm not a tree. But that's us. We're at a part in our lives right now that something big is going to happen. We're going to actually be meant to do something bigger than where we are right now. Whether that means me talking to you or something much more. Just like that tree needed help. We need help. I need help. I need help every day. Somebody needs to hold me up. Especially these days that I feel like I'm going to fall back down. I can't do this on my own. But I can do this in the strength of God. I can look forward to tomorrow. Because I know that God has something for me. I hate waiting. Did I mention that? I hate being still. I want to get up and I want to move, and I'm going to probably continue to want to move. I'm not going to be able to sit still. But I have to wait on the Lord. I have to wait on what the Lord is going to do for me. I don't know what it's going to look like. I so badly want to teach again. Knowing that I'm not going to go back breaks my heart so much. But even while I'm sitting here, I can feel my head spasming. Thankfully, I'm not jerking, because if I was jerking, the phone would be on the other side of the table. Right now, it's just spasming. Maybe because I'm getting hot. I don't care. I'd rather be hot than cold right now. This is the last verse that actually ended my night last night, and I fell asleep in this verse, or at the end of this verse. Lamentations 3:37. You came near when I called. I'm sorry, I'll start that over. Solomon was talking to God, and he said, you came near when I called you, and you said, do not fear. So that's it. We need to be still. We need to believe that God is going to provide something awesome. I don't know what that awesome looks like. I hate the concept of wanting to be still. I'm going to find something to do, I'm sure. But I need to remember that God is going to provide. What it looks like, I don't know. But don't give up. Don't give up. Whatever you're dealing with, don't give up. How many times do I want to give up? Even in my faith, so many times. It's not time for us to give up. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to see everything that God has provided for us. Don't give up. Be still and know that He is God.